Hey everybody, welcome to my channel and a special big welcome to anybody new here. My name is KiwiSimsKate and I create Sims 4 speed builds here on YouTube. Today we're going to be building with the new pack that was just released recently. It's Cottage Living and it is maybe now my favorite pack of all the packs, expansions, game packs, stuff packs, kits. I love it so much. I think it is adorable. I think the build and buy items are incredible. I think the gameplay is just super cute. And I think they really knocked it out of the park with this one. So a really big congratulations to the whole Sims team. They did an incredible job and I'm really having a lot of fun building mostly so far in this new world, but I'm going to try out a lot of the gameplay too because I think it's just really adorable how you can have these animals raise chickens, and the whole grocery store delivery aspect is super cute. So I'm looking forward to getting a couple of builds under my belt and then also exploring some of the gameplay. This build here is a starter build, so it does come in under 20,000 simoleons, so you will be able to purchase it without any cheats as a brand new sim. You'll also be able to get this build off the gallery. I'll upload it and link it below in the description. It is a 1-bedroom home and it's fairly simple, quaint, super cottagey. I've built it in this village area of the kind of newer village area in the town in Henford-on-Bagley. And I love the sort of raised area where it's on as well. It's really cute. And I've given this house the new lot challenge which came with this pack, which effectively means that your sim has to grow, harvest all of the things that they cook with or they eat. So I've heard that it's quite a challenge. I haven't played through it myself yet. I do plan on trying it out. But if your sim lives here, this lot does have that trait, so just bear that in mind, or adjust it and take it out if you don't want to play with that challenge. I've also included a garden patch and a chicken coop with 2 chickens. I think maybe they don't spawn when you get it off the gallery. You'll probably have to purchase your own chickens, and also an animal shed for either a cow or a llama, depending on what you'd like for your sim. When I was playtesting this build, I put a cow in there and I put a couple of chickens in the coop, and it is so adorable watching them wander around the backyard, and collecting the eggs and building up a rapport with the cow. I love it so much. And it really reminds me of some of the tiny villages and towns in England. I visited the Lake District, for example, and this is a very similar vibe, this whole world that came with this pack. They also added some incredible build and buy items with this pack, and as a builder primarily, I was so excited to build with this pack. They included probably as much as they could have. So I'm just really happy with the pack. If you can't tell already, I'm loving it, and will definitely be building in this world for some time. I'm finishing up the shape of the home now and just adding a few little details, getting the windows right. And this is also a build using only base game and cottage living. So you don't need any other packs to be able to download this full build. I did, when I was building it, accidentally use a couple of other packs because I'd forgotten to filter, but before I uploaded it to the gallery, I did correct that. So I've taken out any of the other packs. So you only need those 2 packs to download this build and enjoy it. If you do download this build and use it in your gameplay, I would love to see screenshots, or just let me know if you do use it. It's always cool to know that your build is being used and enjoyed by others. So feel free to send me a tweet or Instagram. I'm at both those places, and all my social links are in my About page on my channel. Now I'm moving into the interior of the home and just figuring out the layout. I more or less designed the vague layout when I built the house. So I knew where I wanted the bedroom to be. I knew where I wanted the bathroom to be. And now I'm figuring out how I'm going to shape the dining, kitchen, and living areas, because it's quite a small home. I'm not actually used to building this small. I generally build homes that are quite a bit bigger than this. I don't tend to build a lot of 1-bedroom lots, so this is a bit of a challenge for me, getting everything in that I wanted. It was also a real challenge to build something under 20,000 simoleons, because I don't do a lot of starter homes, and when I play myself through the game, I do often use the motherload cheats or money cheats and that, so I can have more fancy homes and bigger homes than maybe what my sim would normally afford. So what I did is I tried to use a lot of debug items that cost nothing. So they have a 0 simoleon value, and that saved me a lot in terms of the full amount of the home. If I had furnished this home and built this home, especially the landscaping, with non-debug items, not using any debug items, this lot would look incredibly different. As it was, once I finished, I came in over 20,000 simoleons, not too much, maybe a couple of grand over, and I had to go back and edit a few items. So it is possible that the final lot that you download from the gallery may look slightly different. Not a lot has changed, but I did have to swap out a few small objects here and there because I had used the buy items and purchased them as opposed to using a debug equivalent, which was a bit of a shame because I was fairly happy with the home once I'd finished it, and going back in and adjusting those things was quite tricky. So just be aware of that if you do download this build. I've pretty much finished on the kitchen layout now. It stays more or less like that, other than the beams just above some of those counters, the green beams that I added that kind of look through to the living area. I do have to go in and change that just to save the money and create a wall there instead of using the beams, which obviously cost a little bit more money. And then this living room, eventually, later on in the build, you'll see me switch it up a bit, change it for some cheaper items. Unfortunately, get rid of that beautiful plant that came with this pack, the fiddle leaf plant. I love it so much, the one that comes in that basket. It's so cute. I mean, I love any new plant that we get with a pack, but it was too pricey for a starter home, so unfortunately I had to say goodbye to that. And this is me here just switching out those beams for just a plain wall. I also normally add a lot of artwork, paintings, things, and wall decorations to my builds generally, But again, because of getting it in as a starter home, I had to be really specific on what I used on the walls, and I go in near the end and I add a bunch of those plain cross-stitch frames without any actual cross-stitch in them. So the idea being that I do add eventually the cross-stitch basket or box that has the activity that your sim can do. So if you do download this, you could maybe have your sim work on some cross-stitching and switch out some of those plain frames that have no actual art pieces of art in them, and using whatever your own sim creates. So I thought I'd leave it up to you guys to replace those, and then it also allowed me to come in under budget. Now I'm doing a little bit of the exterior and the landscaping, the backyard here. All of this brick wall or stone wall rather, is from Debug. Most of what I use outside of the exterior is Debug, if I can help it, and anything I can't get away with, I use from the buy catalogue. I also wanted to add more things to the pond, but it did unfortunately get a little bit too expensive. So yeah, I managed to add in quite a lot of detail though. There are so many plants, and I think that really gives a lot of life to this build, because to be honest, the interior is fairly basic for this home, but the landscaping and the garden area is what I really, really love. So you can always go in and renovate the interior once your sim makes a bit of money, if you're playing with no money cheats, obviously. And I feel like that's what I would do if I were playing with this build as a starter sim. But with the exterior, it's pretty full already. I managed to use a lot of Debug landscaping items, so it doesn't feel like I've skimped on anything, I don't think anyway. So I'm very grateful to the fact that we have all these beautiful flowers and greenery, trees that we can use out here, and some really, really cool ones that came with the new pack. So I love the little mushrooms, the little like fields of mushrooms. They come in a bunch of different sizes, and also just the new grass textures we got, and the grass objects in Debug from Cottage Living. They just feel perfect for a countryside type world. I had originally actually added some of the wisteria on the outside of the house and the ivy from the buy catalogue. So I think I keep some of the footage in of me swapping it out, but I had to go in near the end when I came in over budget and swap some of that stuff out too. So the wisteria and the ivy may look a little bit different from what it looks in the speed build, I'm afraid, because I was really trying to skimp those pennies and come in under budget. This exterior is also one of my favorites I think I've created, because it feels very kind of naturally landscaped and not too perfect. I like to build a lot of modern homes, and generally with modern homes you have very clean lines in the garden. You don't have things that are too overgrown. It looks very polished, and things are placed in very specific areas. But I love every now and then to switch it up and do this kind of countryside home, so the garden can look a little bit more wild and natural. So I enjoyed that aspect of building this home quite a bit. Here I'm working on the back corner of the garden, where I create a gardening patch so your sim can grow their own vegetables, fruit and vegetables and berries. And then beside that is the chicken coop. I've fenced both of those areas in, so I'm not too sure exactly. As I said, I haven't really played through the gameplay aspect of it much, but I wasn't sure if the animals would destroy the garden, the fruit and veggies, because obviously in real life they would probably eat your fruit and veggies if they could get to them, and hence why so many garden and vegetable patches are fenced in so that animals don't go in and eat your crops. That would be quite frustrating. So so I fenced in the garden. I don't know if it really matters, but I just also like the aesthetic of it as well. And with it being beside the chicken coop that's fenced as well, I thought it worked well. And then when I go through and play test the build, I also have my sim plant a bunch of fruit and veggies in the patch as well, and I didn't upload this build into the gallery until after I'd planted it, so I could be wrong because I haven't actually downloaded anything myself from the gallery in so long, but I think that anything you've planted before you've uploaded a build stays. I can't remember. Correct me if I'm wrong. Let me know down below in the comments. It's been a long time since I've downloaded anything off the gallery, and even longer probably since I've downloaded something that had gardening in it, probably. I'm finishing up the sort of backyard area now, adding a bunch of stuff, just like trawling the debug menu, looking for little bits and pieces, little details, adding lights. Again, with the debug menu, it can kind of be a bit difficult to know which items are usable by your sim and versus not usable. So, for example, I had added a mailbox that was from the debug menu, and then when I went and play tested it, it doesn't work. So I had to switch that out for a mailbox I actually had to pay for, which was a bit annoying, but never mind, you live and learn. And then also those outdoor lights that I added around the garden, I wasn't 100% sure they worked, but I'm pretty sure from memory now, I think when I was playing the game, I think they do light up. They've kind of got a dim light to them, which is pretty cool for like you being able to use a free light. One of my last little bits I do just to add a bit of decor is add in the shelf in the kitchen. I did feel like the kitchen felt a little plain to me. Again, if I wasn't building this with a restricted budget, I would have cluttered up the kitchen so much more with items that I just purchased, and a lot of the wall decor, a lot more shelves, some of those really cute. We got at least one great kitchen shelf from this pack with hanging items from it, and it also matches the swatch of the kitchen counters. And then obviously the country kitchen kit that was released recently as well, that had a lot of great clutter items. So if this wasn't a restricted budget build, I would definitely have cluttered up this house so much more. And then I move on to the bedroom, where I would have added a lot more as well. I found it quite difficult with the bedroom because I hadn't realized how small I'd made it. So I was really quite pushed for space in there, but I do make it work. The double bed, unfortunately, the sim will only be able to access the one side, so if you do have two sims living in this house, you will probably want to just expand that bedroom ever so slightly, probably just one more tile, and there is space on the lot to do that, and then you can probably access both sides of the bed, so it wouldn't be too difficult. Some of the landscaping on that side of the house would have to be changed. And then you'll see me adjusting that living room, which I mentioned that I do, adding in the cross stitching, And then you would have seen me in the kitchen add some beautiful pink tiles, which I then realised they belong to Parenthood, I think it was, so I had to remove them. Yeah, and then a few more pieces around the garden, some landscaping with some terrain, colouring and manipulation, and then basically finished. Screenshots will be here shortly. If you want to download this build, my gallery ID is KiwiSimsKate, and you can find this and all my other builds there. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to catch all of my future videos here on YouTube. You can also follow me on Twitch, Twitter and Instagram, all at KiwiSimsKate. Thank you so much for watching and take care out there. Bye!